The first thing on our agenda today is anticipated movie art. Well, let me rephrase.
Yeah.
Our most anticipated movies of 2023. Now, we're not going to do our whole top 5 because we're going to be here for all day, but we're going to do our top 3.
You know what? I volunteer Pancakes to go first.
Nice. Pancakes, go for it. What are your top 3 anticipated 2023 movies, and how did they do this year?
Well, I would probably have to start with the honorable mention, Creed 3. That should have been in my top 5 of most anticipated. That movie was absolutely spectacular. Michael B. Jordan killed it as director. Indiana Jones lived up to the hype. I thought that was really good. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the best Marvel film other than Spider-Man since Endgame. So out of those, my anticipated list, including the honorable mention, I thought those films did so well. The other two left a lot to be desired.
Grim?
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Yep. Oh, all right. Let me just look at my handy dandy notebook over here just to make sure I have the numericals right. Yep. Okay. So for my top 3 this year, because I was really looking forward to it, coming in at number 3 was Quantumania.
Oh man, I'm gonna feel the pain on that one, man.
Oh God, it was so bad. It was. Looking back on it, like I know how like we talked about it a little bit and how it was just like, yeah, Jonathan Majors was great and everything, but everything. I think at this point the whole kit and caboodle was just kick it to the curb, please. Why did this become a thing? Number 2. Another one I had such high hope for. Oh my God, this needs a bridge pinch right here. Transformers: Rise of the Beasts.
Oh man.
I forgot about that movie.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, I wish I could forget it too. I really did, because this was like the culmination, at least like as a Transformers fan who grew up in the 90s and was introduced through Beast Wars, and we finally got the Maximals and the Predacons.
Sure.
Yeah, exactly. And we got like another thing roped in here with Unicron that didn't need to be in the movie, and still waiting on Megatron. Still waiting on him to show an appearance, and
Don't forget Pete Davidson and his breakout Transformers role.
Johnny, I almost did forget about it.
Well, I had to remind you because it exists, and we all had to suffer through it. So,
Pete Davidson is pain. Pete Davidson is such pain. On a good note, though, my number 1 most anticipated movie for this year was Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Amongst Thieves, and it did exactly what I was hoping for it to do. It was well received. I feel like it did bring like a lot of fans into the culture, or at least like made it known to the culture, especially during a time where Wizards of the Coast was going through a rough patch of just things happening within the company, treating their customers like garbage and things. And all in all, I think they did well, and I can only pray that we're going to have a sequel come out soon. So that's my top 3.
Mr. 64.
my turn. All right.
Your turn.
So, like Big Grim, I had Ant-Man, Quantumania. I think my top 3 at the time. And
I'm also sorry, bud.
I wasn't as like, yeah, overall I was let down, but I was just disappointed in just how they treated or how they handled Kang, because like we were really hoping for, like, this is Phase 5. Phase 4 was kind of rough, but this is going to be a whole new thing. We got the big bad with Kang the Conqueror, and we all know how that turned out. We all know how everything turned out with its actor, with his actor. So
that's
Jonathan Majors. So disappointing for multiple reasons, but it was just like Marvel just continuing to deflate, and we know how the rest of the year ended up for them. Number 2 on my list at the time was Oppenheimer. On a more positive note, that definitely lived up to my expectations, maybe and then some.
1000%.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Nolan did it again. I still believe this might be his best film yet. Not everybody will agree with me on that, but it was just phenomenally done. The cinematography, the sound design, the freaking sound design.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just the writing, the characterization. Robert Downey Jr., shout out to him. I think this is his best role since Tony Stark.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, and I mean the cast in general was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
even the cameos that we got. I think
Oh my God.
Every like 10 minutes, we were like, "He's in this movie. She's here." Oh my god, it was the cast was crazy.
It was like
So-
the new age Saving Private Ryan. Like you saw a
Yeah.
new face every time like the screen changed. Like a recognizable face.
It was nuts.
It was an all-star lineup, pretty much.
It really was, and I felt like everybody gave their all too. Like there wasn't any one performance that was outdoing anybody else or outshining anybody else. They all came in and they understood the assignment and they got the job done.
Yep.
So that was my number 2, and my number 1, obviously Johnny 64,
Oh yeah.
the Super Mario Brothers movie, baby. It's the beginning.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
It's the beginning of a new era in movies. I'm telling you right now.
It's a Johnny 64.
Yeah,
Oh my
you know,
God.
well, 15 years ago now, we had the MCU take over Hollywood, and I think the Super Mario Brothers movie was really the kickstart into a
The
video
Nintendo
game
world is coming to take over?
universe. Yeah, I mean, it did phenomenally well. I think it only just got beat by Barbie. It was it's one of the most successful movies of the year.
Yeah.
We already got a confirmation that Zelda's on the way. A Zelda movie's on the way. So like Nintendo's already, counting their money and planning on making more. And the movie itself was just great. It
was good.
It wasn't anything groundbreaking, right? That the story was pretty simple. Mario has to fight Bowser for whatever reason. Peach had a more of an active role. She was really good, and the
Thank
voice
God.
the voice cast for the most part was great. Chris Pratt, I tolerated him as Mario's voice. He was okay. Charlie Day was awesome as
Charlie
Luigi.
Day was amazing.
Jack Black
Stole the show.
as Bowser.
He did what we thought he was
Oh.
going to do. He stole the show.
Yeah, I mean, he's a national treasure as it is.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, he honestly, and talking about like outshining one actor from another, he completely overshadowed Chris Pratt.
Oh,
in my opinion,
1000%.
with his
1000.
performance.
Charlie Day outshined Chris Pratt.
He did.
I think.
I always kept saying, like, if Nintendo wanted to keep Charlie Day as a Luigi voice, I'm all for it.
1000%.
He is a good fit.
I was not trying to hate, but I was actually 1000% okay with the entire voice cast, with the exception of Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he was the weak link.
He was most definitely the weak link.
He was
But-
okay. He was okay.
Side note,
Yes, the weak link.
and side note to Charlie Day, he said he is open to doing a Luigi's Mansion movie.
Oh, and I would be so here for it. I
Oh
would be
my
so
God.
here.
Because he would say no to that, right? Because the
okay.
payday's not going to be
Who
great.
would?
obviously,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, the visuals, everything, how, like, it was, I feel like it was just like a Mario in a way that we never seen him before. Like, he's just made for like movies, having a voice, number one, just the way everybody looked. So I had just had a great time. And just like, it was an event. Like, everybody showed up in costume. Like,
I was about to say, we had some cosplayers.
I think that and Barbie were the only two movies that did that, where people showed up in
1000%.
proper attire.
Uh-huh.
So I just had a hell of a time. So that was definitely my number one out of my anticipated movies.
That's fair.
I think it's the only movie of the year we actually saw on the actual opening night, not the Friday, not the Saturday. It came out earlier.
Came out,
the
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Well, okay. Oh, I have to do mine, right?
Yeah,
So-
you should.
Man of the hour.
All right. So, top 3.
Yep.
It was Creed 3, and listen,
Creed 3 was great.
that was a phenomenal movie.
Solid.
Listen,
solid.
I love that anime.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
A live action anime.
As we
Yes.
discussed in the review, yes.
Absolutely.
It was a great movie. It
was a great
I think
anime.
He did phenomenal. It was his directorial debut.
It was. It
Yeah.
was.
So for first timer, knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely.
Now my number 2, I think it was Indiana Jones, and I liked it. It wasn't bad. It wasn't the strongest indie,
It wasn't the weakest.
but it wasn't the weakest.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
It was
exactly
better
it.
than the Shia LaBeouf one.
Yeah, it was better than Crystal
100%.
Skull. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt.
But I think like in that ranking, okay, yeah. So it wasn't like, it wasn't Crystal Skull, but it was right above Crystal Skull.
I don't know about that. To me, I think it was way above Crystal Skull. Way
Okay.
above.
All right.
No flying refrigerators.
Listen, it's not better than Last Crusade. It may be better than Temple of Doom. Maybe.
Ooh.
Last Crusade is my absolute favorite.
We'll talk about this off screen. I don't know about all that, but yeah. So yeah, and my number one was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, and let me tell you,
Yeah.
Another solid movie, in my opinion.
I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I
Uh-huh.
said it; it was great. I liked it. It kind of ended on a cliff note. I mean, on
A cliffhanger. Yeah.
but it kind of didn't. Like it was.
It was
a
still
solid-
very much its own film.
right. It was its own film,
But-
and I feel it was great.
But it was
done
also
right.
like marketed to be like a part 1 of a part 2.
right.
So not to say that like the other ones, but this is the one that was like officially marketed to be that. So it should end on a cliffhanger. It shouldn't be anything like, oh my god, they ended on a cliffhanger.
But it was an open-ended cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Because you can watch that movie and not have to watch part
Yeah.
2. Like we haven't seen part 2 yet. We don't know what happens. But if it ended there, I would have been okay with the movie.
I stand by what I said. It was a summer popcorn. That's your summer popcorn movie.
And I'm
That's
okay with it. It was
Yeah.
better than Fast X. I'll tell you that.
It
much.
was it was your
was-
wild wild west of the summer.
miles better than
Guys,
Fast X.
I feel like there is a. All right, so you just went through your top 3, right? Now there is a movie that I have to mention that none of us put on our top 3, and it came out and it was phenomenal. It blew my mind. At least I know it blew at least 3 other minds here. Across the Spider-Verse, guys.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you were going to say Godzilla -1.
No.
I don't think we knew. We didn't know of its existence
We
at that
didn't even
time.
know about
That
it
was
at
definitely-
the time because I
Right.
definitely would have put that in my top 3.
Yeah.
It was on your top 5 anticipated. I
It
do
was on
remember.
my. It was my top. It was my
was 5 or
fifth, I
6.
believe. Yeah. No, my honorable mention was Oppenheimer, just because I'm like, oh, I need to put it on here, but everything else I was just looking forward to more, and Oppenheimer was arguably like the best movie of the year. But Across the Spider-Verse brought us back to that art style, back to New York, back to Miles Morales, and I think I was sitting next to you, Spade, and I'm just leaning over towards you, and I'm like, where are they going with this? I don't understand. Like, what's happening? And then we got our cliffhanger ending because it was not funny that we mentioned. Like, yeah, Mission Impossible was marketed as
Originally,
a
it was
part
supposed
1.
to be Into the Spider-Verse Part 1.
But-
That's what it was supposed to be.
Supposed to be, but we didn't see any marketing about that whatsoever. We
When it
saw
was
nothing
first-
about it.
No
But-
marketing, but when it was first
But-
unveiled,
yes.
it was said that it was
Okay, for all of 5 minutes, and then people forgot.
Yes.
I was one of those people that forgot that, and then we saw to be continued. Blew my mind. Everything made sense right after that. I'm like, this is genius. This is absolutely genius. And I'm sorry I didn't put this in my top 3.
Yeah.
That was a great ending. Could be a whole separate video in itself, just talking animated movies. But I think Across the Spider-Verse and Mario are neck and neck for animated movie of the year. Johnny, don't come at me.
Yeah, I mean, it's apples to oranges in terms of animation style, but no, I agree. I actually agree. It was
2 different styles.
Spider-Verse was impressive as hell with its
Yeah.
animation style. I'm not going to knock it one bit. On the other end of the spectrum, if we're talking honorable mentions, I think I got to rewatch our anticipation video from back then, but I think I might have chosen at one point Cocaine Bear. So I just want to put it out there now that I apologize for just putting that out there in the universe to even have any expectation of that movie, because
I actually thought Spade said that. I didn't know it was you.
I think it was
Yeah, it was
me.
him. It was him.
Because I just thought it was going to be one of those like so ridiculous and so bad it's good type of movie, and it
No.
was just
It was so bad
It was
that it
just
was
bad.
bad.
It was bad.
It was just bad.
I-
It was
I thought-
horrible.
I thought for sure Spade, Grim, and myself thought you were going to pick the Flash movie as.
Oh,
No, no. So see,
Kidding
the
on
Flash.
that- kidding
I wasn't
on that
disappointed by the Flash because I already had no expectations of that movie going into the
that's the
theater.
thing. We were already disappointed by the
Yeah.
DCEU at that point.
It was-
That
I
we
was-
were literally just like, it can't really get any worse. It can
Remember-
only go up from here.
At
Oh,
that
it
time,
got worse.
And it got worse.
At that time, we had just gotten news that James Gunn was taking over, and he had just taken out Henry Cavill right after we saw
Yeah.
Black Adam, and
Oh
he had
my
a role in
God.
it. So
Yeah.
the Flash, I was already like writing DC off.
yeah.
So
Oh no. Well, 1,000%.
If I could do a quick correction on mine,
Oh, no.
one of the anticipated movies that absolutely lived up to the hype, John Wick 4.
That was ironically my number 4.
really good.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, no. So all right, all in all, guys, like at least for like this year, we had some high notes. We definitely had some low notes.
We picked some good ones.
We picked some good ones.
Our follow-up video is going to have our top 3 anticipated of 2024. So
Oh, boy.
you guys should like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell. So that way you guys can know exactly when those videos come out. So with that said, anybody else have anything else to say?
It was a hell of a year.
That's it.
Hell of a year.
It was a horrible comic book movie year, but it was a hell of a year.
Yep.
With that said, guys, we're out. Roll
Roll
credits.
credits.
And watch more movies.